Abra is another tool. They definitely have to where you can loan and borrow crypto. So it's just kind of a decentralized finance tool. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is Amazon. And Amazon, I think, is like one of the mother of all disruptors. Um, Even though they're one of the biggest companies in the world right now, I think they will still disrupt many industries, and including especially healthcare. So Jeff Bezos surprised everyone by stepping down recently, and he is actually about to step down from CEO to, I think, head some other position that's pretty high up, um, chairman of the board or something like that. So this is from the Wall Street Journal. This is a letter to shareholders, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read some of it because I think this is very important to see where Amazon is going, and I think it's a historic thing. Like Amazon's progressing into different areas, and you also had the union trying to organize in Alabama. That didn't work. So Jeff Bezos had a lot of kind of trying to pull the company together before he leaves. But he has a very competent guy that ran AWS and started AWS, which is really the most profitable part of Amazon, that is now running Amazon, and Andy Jassy. And so Amazon's going to be in good hands, and we'll see if the company culture changes a lot. The culture probably won't change, but maybe the focus will shift in some ways. So, in Amazon's 1997 letter to shareholders, I talked about our hope to create an enduring franchise, one that would reinvent what it means to serve customers by unlocking the internet's power. I noted that Amazon had grown from having 158 employees to 648, and we had surpassed 1.5 million customer accounts. We had just gone public at a split adjusted stock price of $1.50 per share. I wrote that it was day one. We've come a long way since then, and we are working harder than ever to serve and delight customers. Last year, we hired 500,000 employees and now directly employ 1.3 million people around the world. We have more than 200 million Prime members worldwide. More than 1.9 million small and medium-sized businesses sell in our store, and they make up close to 60% of our retail sales. Customers have connected more than 100 million smart devices to Alexa. Amazon Web Services serves millions of customers and ended 2020 with a $50 billion annualized run rate. In 1997, we hadn't invented Prime, Marketplace, Alexa, or AWS. They weren't even ideas then, and none were preordained. We took great risk with each one and put sweat and ingenuity into each one. Along the way, we've created $1.6 trillion of wealth for shareholders. Who are they? Claire is one, and my Amazon shares have made me wealthy. But more than 7/8 of the shares representing Your chair is one, and my Amazon shares have made me wealthy. But more than 7/8 of the shares representing $1.4 trillion of wealth creation are owned by others. Who are they? They're pension funds, universities, 401ks, and other people. If you want to be successful in business, in life actually, you have to create more than you consume. Your goal should be to create value for everyone you interact with. Any business that doesn't create value for those it touches, even if it appears successful on the surface, isn't long for this world. It's on the way out. And that's why we invest in disruptive companies. We want companies that are actually creating value. That's kind of my interjection. Remember that stock prices are not about the past. They are a prediction of future cash flows discounted back to the present. The stock market anticipates. I'm going to switch gears for a moment and talk about the past year. How much value do we create for share owners in 2020? This is a relatively easy question to answer because accounting systems are set up to answer it. Our net income in 2020 was $21.3 billion. If, instead of being a publicly traded company with thousands of owners Amazon were a sole proprietorship with a single owner, that's how much the owner would have earned in 2020. How about employees? This is also a reasonably easy value creation question to answer because we can look at compensation expense. What is an expense for a company is income for employees. In 2020, employees earned 80 billion plus another 11 billion to include benefits and various payroll taxes. How about our third-party sellers? We have an internal team that works to answer that question. They estimate that in 2020, third-party seller profits from selling on Amazon were between 25 billion and 39 billion to be conservative. So he's definitely talking about like the value he creates for workers and for the third-party sellers on there. And this has kind of been their biggest focus. Has always been let's offer the best prices for consumers. So he says we'll do consumers first. We offer low prices, fast selection, fast delivery. But imagine we ignore all of that for the purpose of this estimate and value only one thing. We save customers time. Customers complete 28% of purchases on Amazon in 3 minutes or less, and half of all purchases are finished in less than 15 minutes. Compare that to the typical shopping trip to a physical store, driving, parking, searching store aisles, waiting in the checkout line, finding your car, and driving home. Research suggests the typical physical store trip takes about an hour. If you assume that a typical Amazon purchase takes 15 minutes and that it saves you a couple of trips to a physical store a week, that's more than 75 hours a week saved. That's important. We're all busy in the early 21st century. So that we can get a dollar figure, let's value the time savings at $10 per hour, which is conservative. 75 hours multiplied by $10 an hour and subtracting the cost of Prime gives you value creation for each Prime member of about $630. We have 200 million Prime members for a total in 2020 of $126 billion of value creation. AWS, their most profitable part, is challenging to estimate because each customer's workload is different, but we'll do it anyway. Acknowledging up front that the error bars are high, direct cost improvements from operating in the cloud versus on-premises vary, but a reasonable estimate is 30%. Across AWS's entire 2020 revenue of $45 billion, that 30% would imply customer value creation of $19 billion. That would have cost them $64 billion on their own, cost $45 billion from AWS. The difficult part of this estimation exercise is that the direct cost reduction is the smallest portion of the customer benefit of moving to the cloud. The bigger benefit is the increased speed of software development, something that can significantly improve the customer's competitiveness and top line. We have no reasonable way of estimating that portion of customer value except to say that it's almost certainly larger than the direct cost savings. To be conservative here, and remember, we're really only trying to get ballpark estimates, I'll say it's the same and call AWS customer value creation $38 billion in 2020. Adding AWS and consumer together gives us total customer value creation of $164 billion. If each group had an income statement representing their interactions with Amazon, the numbers above would be the bottom lines from those income statements. Those numbers are part of the reason why people work for us, why sellers sell through us, and why customers buy from us. We create value for them, and this creation is not a zero-sum game. It's not just moving money from one pocket to another. Draw the box big around all of society, and you'll find that invention is the root of all real creation, all real value creation. And value created is best thought of as a metric for innovation. Of course, our relationship with those constituencies and the value we create isn't exclusively dollars and cents. Money doesn't tell the whole story. Our relationship with shareholders, for example, is relatively simple. They invest and hold shares for a duration of their choosing. We provide direction to share owners, infrequently on matters such as annual meetings and the right process to vote their shares. And even then, they can ignore those directions and just skip voting. Our relationship with employees is a very different example. He's going to focus on this a lot, I can tell, because of the union thing. We have processes they follow and standards they meet. We require training and various certifications. Employees have to show up at appointed times. Our interactions with employees are many and they're fine-grained. It's not just about the pay and the benefits. It's about all the other detailed aspects of the relationship too.